With the NBA season almost a week away, it's time for us to start breaking down the NBA divisions. We're going to start with the Pacific Division today, and then we'll go through the rest of the divisions with each their own video, similar to what we did in hockey. In the Pacific Division, you got the Warriors, Clippers, Lakers, Kings, and Suns. Um, Last year, the Clippers won it. This year, I'm going with the Warriors. They got Stephen Curry at point guard, and he can just take over a game anytime he wants. If he gets hot, he's just unstoppable. So that's good. That's their catalyst. That's the guy they're going to build around. They also got Klay Thompson at shooting guard. He can really score the ball. This team has a lot of scoring power. They're just going to have to learn to play some defense, and that's something Thompson's a little bit weaker at, but he certainly can score the ball. They also acquired Andre Iguodala in the offseason, and he's kind of their do-everything guy. If they need him to score, he can score. If they need him to pass, he can pass. If they need him to play defense, he can play defense. I think it's a good signing by them. It really puts them out in front in this division and really gives them a good shot at the playoffs. They also have David Lee, who's an amazing post man. He can go down low. He can score down low. He can get the rebounds. It's a great power forward to have. And then they have Andrew Bogut if he stays healthy, but that's been a big question with him over his career. But if he stays healthy, the Warriors are a really complete team, especially with Harrison Barnes as their sixth man. And he's a really solid sixth man. He doesn't put up a lot of statistical categories, but he definitely contributes to the team, and that's something that every team needs, and it really makes the Golden State Warriors a complete team, and that's why I'm picking them to win. Is they're more all around than the other teams in the division. Second, I have the LA Clippers. I think Chris Paul obviously is a great point guard, and with JJ Redick able to shoot the three ball, I think he's probably their weak spot on the offense, but he definitely can shoot the ball, and he can put up points. Another weaker spot than the Warriors is Jared Dudley at small forward. They acquired him in the off season, but I don't think he's the greatest small forward in the world. He definitely adds something to their lineup that they didn't have last year, but I just don't think that it's enough of an improvement as the Warriors made signing Iguodala. They also have Blake Griffin down low. I think he needs to be more physical this year, really become a post man instead of taking too many of those 20-foot J's that he has come to shoot a lot and he's not very good at. So he needs to get down low, be physical, get some rebounds. That'll really help the Clippers. DeAndre Jordan, you got to love him for his athleticism. So he's a good center to have on this team, especially with the fast pace they like to run. Then you have Jamal Crawford as your sixth man who can score the ball pretty much at will when he's out there, and so that's a great sixth man to have. Obviously, with the fast paced tempo, he's obviously gonna help a lot. Third, I have the Lakers. Obviously, they failed experiment last year with Dwight Howard and Steve Nash, and they bring back obviously a weaker squad on paper, but I think they'll get along a little bit better, and they know I don't think their expectations are as high, so I don't think there's going to be as much of a letdown if things aren't clicking right away, and they'll have a chance to build. And I think they'll be a borderline playoff team, and so we'll see if they sneak in or they just miss. They have Nash, obviously, at point guard. They need to get the ball in his hands. The offense needs to be centered around him for the Lakers to have success. Last year was too much in Kobe's hands, which is great to have, but Kobe should be running off the ball and Steve Nash finding him rather than Bryant trying to create his own shots. So if they get the ball in Nash's hands, that'll help a lot. Obviously, Kobe Bryant and his health is a concern with the Achilles tear. He says he'll be back, and I think once he comes back, it'll take some time to adjust to it, but I still think he's going to put up 20 points a game when he's in there. He's too good of a player to really have an off year, so I think he'll continue his success and give the Lakers that dynamic they've had for several years now. Nick Young's their small forward this year. He can score the ball. I don't think they'll need him to. They'll use him for his athleticism, his quickness, and I think he'll really need to play defense. That's an area the team struggled last year, and I think he'll help that defense, and it'll give the Lakers just a slight edge in the small forward spot. Pau Gasol, he needs a bounce back year. Last year he didn't look very good. He still put up some good stats, but he'll need to bounce back, have a similar year to a few years ago to get the Lakers into the playoffs. They also have Chris Kaman down at center instead of Dwight Howard. I think Chris Kaman, he's been an all-star before. I think he really needs to put up double-double numbers this year, and I think he has the talent to. So we'll see where they go from there. And then Steve Blake is their sixth man. I think he's really good passing the ball, and if they center their offense around their point guard, I really think Blake can give the ball and assist and get a ton of assists to Kobe Bryant. But overall, I think this team is slightly weaker than last year, but I think the chemistry is a lot better, and I think they might sneak into the playoffs at number 8. Sacramento Kings, I have fourth in the division. They're a little bit weak at point guard. I think Isaiah Thomas will win the job, but they have Vasquez listed as their starter right now. And so I think they're a little bit weak at point guard. Vasquez isn't necessarily a great point guard. So I think that's an area to watch in Sacramento. They have Ben McLemore at their shooting guard position, and he looked good in preseason, so I'm wondering what he'll bring to this Kings team. And then John Salmons at small forward. He's a scrappy player. He's the kind of player that you would want as a sixth man, not necessarily a starter. But that's with a bad team he's starting for. But I think he'll put up okay numbers. Jason Thompson's their power forward, and he's kind of been a rock for them the last few years, and I think he really needs to start putting up double-double numbers. He's been putting up like 8 and 8 the last couple of years, but if he can get 10 and 10, that definitely helps the Kings a lot. Then, of course, DeMarcus Cousins is a phenomenal center. He just needs to keep his attitude in check, and that's something that they'll have to watch for. But I think, he knows he's a great center. They know he's a great center, and he's going to continue to put up great center stats. And then their sixth man, Isaiah Thomas, like I talked about earlier, I think he'll probably win the job. But he's not a great point guard, but he definitely adds something to the team. Rounding out the Pacific Division, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think Goran Dragic, they centered their offense a little bit too much around him last year. Obviously, there wasn't a whole lot of other places to go with. I just think they need to have him pass the ball more rather than try to score. I think he's a good passer. I think I compare him to like a Jose Calderon type, not necessarily a scorer, but definitely can move the ball around. Eric Bledsoe is their shooting guard, and he's finally getting a chance to start. So I'm wondering how he'll do. He's definitely an exciting player, but we'll see how he does this season. I think it'll take a little bit of adjusting for him. They have Michael Beasley at small forward. This is kind of every year we say, oh, Beasley will go back to his potential as a first overall pick. But I don't think he will. He'll just kind of continue to be a wreck. But I think he'll show some flashes occasionally, and we'll see why he was such a high pick. But I just don't think he'll be consistent enough to really give the Suns a weapon. They have Markieff Morris as their power forward. He definitely needs to do better on the boards. He's too small. I think he needs to bulk up and really get scrappy and get some rebounds. Marcin Gortat's their center, and he brings a block party to every game. He's such good defensively, and it's very hard to drive into the paint with him there without him blocking you. So it's definitely something other opponent shooters watch out for. They have to shoot over him, and that helps the Suns a lot. PJ Tucker's their sixth man. He's definitely a good role player. He can bring a lot to a team, but the Suns just aren't there yet for him to be a great sixth man. He's just kind of average. So the Suns, I think, they'll continue to struggle the next couple of years, but they definitely seem to be going in the right direction. Um, that's it for my Pacific Division preview. Remember to check out my blog and follow me on Twitter. Um, and we will be back in the next couple days with the rest of the division previews. And I'm looking forward to the NBA season. It should be a good one this year.